President Xi Jinping is the most powerful man in China, and this is an A4 size white sheet of paper. This blank white sheet of paper has become Chinese government's biggest nightmare. It has become a symbol of resistance, a weapon of defiance of the Chinese people, showing their anger against President Xi Jinping's zero COVID policy. It is unprecedented. Let me explain you how and why. What is happening in China? Daily COVID cases that began to rise in October surged last week, and as of Monday, 28th of November, crossed the 40,000 mark. This is way higher than the last peak China saw in April this year. Now, more cases translate into stricter COVID norms, but people are already tired, angry and frustrated. Now, over the weekend, hundreds protested in two of China's biggest cities, the capital Beijing and financial center Shanghai, demanding two things: lifting of lockdown and the resignation of President Xi Jinping. The latest trigger is a fire in an apartment that killed 10 people in Xinjiang. The protesters blamed lockdown rules for hampering rescue efforts, a charge that the authorities have denied. Similar protests took place in Wuhan, the central city where COVID first emerged. Now, what is zero COVID policy? 3 years after COVID first emerged, China remains the only major country to follow such strict restrictions. It is a strategy that aims to fight COVID by imposing strict lockdowns, closing borders, mass testing, imposing travel bans. The WHO has called it unsustainable. The harsh countermeasures have crippled the economy, have hit the lifestyle and livelihoods of people. Now, Nomura estimates that more than a fifth of China's GDP is under lockdown, a share bigger than the British economy. Businesses and schools are closed, and so are all shops except for those selling food. It is one of the toughest anti-COVID regimes in the world, and lockdowns last until no new infections are reported. Now, why do the Chinese people hate this policy? Now, this policy has given nearly 3 years of economic hardship and disruption to the Chinese. According to reports, people have claimed that ambulances got delayed due to COVID restrictions. Some were barred from fleeing their homes during an earthquake due to lockdown rules. Some people complained about the lack of food and difficult conditions faced by senior citizens who were forcibly taken to quarantine centers. As per reports, a 14-year-old girl even died in a quarantine center due to lack of medical care. Now, despite these sentiments, Xi Jinping has insisted that zero COVID policy is about saving lives. Why do these protests matter? Let's come back to this harmless piece of white blank paper. These protests are unprecedented. Latest images and videos from China show that protesters are holding black sheets of paper to send a message of defiance to authorities. It is reported to be a statement about protesters being silenced. Remember, China is a heavily censored country where it is extremely dangerous to publicly criticize the Communist Party and its chief, Xi Jinping. One can even go to jail for it. These protests matter.